everyone. Today's project is pincushion with an optional wristband. I've just pinned that to give you an idea of what it will look like when it's finished. Now we're going to start getting together all we need for the pincushion. You need your template, and you need your 2 pieces of felt, your pins and needles, your thread, which you should have got left over from making the needle case, and some stuffing, your 2 pairs of scissors, of course your instructions. Okay, so we start off with our paper scissors to cut out the paper. Quite straightforward. You're going to cut out, you only cut the solid lines, not the dotted lines. So these little dotted lines are fold lines. You have 2 sides, a bottom and a top. You need to choose the colours. I suggest you use the paler colours for the side and the darker colour for the top and bottom. Line them up very carefully. Try and make the best use of your felt. You'll notice that in your spare felt, that will fit perfectly in that little space there. So that's very good use of our felt. Change over your scissors to your fabric scissors to cut out the felt. Right, so now we've cut them out, take the little paper things off. So let's mark where the fold line should be. I get one of our pins, fold it in half and put that pin in that edge. You can just go in and out to keep it in. So there we are. We know where the fold line is. Do the same with the other one. Can you see how I'm doing it? Folding it, find the middle, and we can put the pin in to show where the fold line is. You can see both sides, doesn't matter which way. That's one of the beauties of felt. Not only does it not fray, but it's the same both sides, usually. Now, this comes a bit tricky. You line up one of the squares with one of the sides. So you have that corner and that pin, and you can see it goes halfway along. And again, we're going to pin it. I'm going to pin it in the middle because I want to be able to stitch along here. Okay, you get your needle and thread, and this is going to be the outside, so you're going to do your 3 little stitches on the inside. All right, pull it almost through but not quite, and do your 3 little stitches to cast on. Now, you're going to come out. There are 2 stitches you can do here. You could do it like the needle case in and out through this way, like little running stitches, close to, but make sure you're not over the edge of both of these. Okay, I'm going to, when I get to the end of this side, I will show you a different stitch that you can do. I'm using a running stitch, but I will show you a different stitch that you can do. Now that I've got to the corner, I have to move the pin, and I'm going to match it up along that side. You see what I mean? See what I've done? Pin it again. And that pin is the corner. I could take that pin out now that I've lined it up and I've pinned it here. Okay. And I'm going to do the different stitch. Now this stitch is like an overhand hemming stitch. So instead of going back from the front to the back and then back again, this time you go over from the front to the back, all the way along, from the front to the back. Okay, this is just an overhand hemming stitch. If you run out of thread, or just about to like I am, take it to the inside and do another 3 little stitches. Try not to go right through. There we go. This is where having the threads prepared and ready on your scissors is very handy, because then you can just rethread your needle and fasten on and keep going. And of course I've already done my 2 threads. Now I've got to the 3rd corner. I need to unpin the side, turn it round the corner at where the pin is, your marker pin, turn it round the corner and line it up again. So you can see you can really see how it's forming the box shape now. So you need to move that out of the way and pin this. Okay. So that's pinned so that it runs along that side. I can do this stitch here, quite close to the corner, and then keep going. I've been all the way round. First one was running stitch, the other 3 was hemming. Now I need to unpin this and sew these 2 together. So now you're going to push that dark pink out of the way and pin those, line them up and pin those together. And I'm going to carry on sewing this. I'll give it an extra stitch over the corner. Right, I have taken the pin out. I can take that pin out of the corner as well. Okay, so now for putting the top on. Right, So again, corner to corner. You see where that little fold was. And put that the other way up now because you don't want it sticking in your fingers. Same on this side. Do that little fold. Put the pin in again. All right. And the reason I've moved it that way round is so that when you're sewing you don't keep catching on the point. Okay. Right, now then, now that we've done those, put that to the inside, line it up and pin it. Carry on with your sewing. Now we've got to the corner again, and yet again you take out the pin that you had holding that, move this round, line it up corner to corner and pin it again. Okay. You can see how it's taking shape. Do a double stitch right over and over at the corner just to hold it safe, secure, before you carry along the side. Okay. Now at this point we've got this side panel to stitch. So I take the pin out, line up the two side panels. It's a bit fiddly this. Now, make sure your top's out of the way. Line it up. Have to make your bottom come out as well. Just pull it out a bit. Line up those two sides and pin it. And stitch. Right, I'm going to take this pin out that's holding the two sides, and you'll see. Right. Now I haven't got a lot of thread left there, so I'm going to take it to the inside, take the needle through to the inside, and I'm going to, on the inside, I'm going to do 3 little stitches to fasten off. And use my fabric scissors. This is the stuffing. Whoops. I'm pulling it into little tiny bits because I want to make sure I stuff into the corners, which you can't do if you've got one great lump. So you pull it into little tiny bits. All right. So before we sew those two top edges, I'm going to use this to pin right, push right into the corner. And we don't need that pin anymore, that one can come out. Okay, so we're going to push this into the corners. We still need this pin though, so careful. Right, we can pin it, push it into that corner. That's how I want to push it into the top corners, which is not quite so easy because we haven't stitched them. Oh, there we go. Just a little bit. Now we need to pin these edges, line them up and pin them together. And squash them in. There we go. And line it up with that pin. Oops. Right, so I'm starting again with my 3 little threads. You'll notice I'm working from my left towards my right. So 1, 2, 3. Take thread through. And now we're going to go all the way round to that end point there. So now we've got to the end, we need to fasten off what you can't get inside. So you're going to have to very neatly go over your corner stitches 3 times. And then you can be sure it won't come loose. So you take your pins out, and there we are. So here you have it, your finished pin cushion, which matches your needle case. You can decide which stitch you think is the most effective, the little tiny running stitch or the hemming stitch. And if you wanted to, you could make an elastic bracelet and stitch your pin cushion onto it so that it's there handy on your wrist when you're working on any other project. I'm going to measure the elastic round my wrist, not too tight, but not so loose that it will slide around. So we measure it and snip it, and measure it again. How much has it got to overlap? Just a little bit, that much. When you can see how far you've got to overlap it to make it a fit. That's how much I've left to overlap. Going to stitch this together and then stitch that on. Okay, I'm going to pin that now. This time with a pin in, you can just push the pin into the pin cushion. You don't have to go in and out. I've just pinned that to give you an idea of what it will look like when it's finished. There you have it. I'm signing off for now, and I look forward to talking with you at the Zoom session.